Mona.
You're unmuted. Yep.
All right, well, I'll call this meeting to order of the Board of Commissioners for February 10th in the Frank Walter House Boardroom. Could I get a roll call, please?
Jeanette,
Here.
Markey,
Here.
Matthews.
Here.
Nye. Here. Roloff.
Here.
Sauer.
Here.
Craig. Here. All present.
If you join us, please, by standing, if you can. Rhonda, please, for invocation.
Sure. Gracious God, we thank you and we praise you for your love, grace, mercy, and perfect peace. We pray for blessings of protection over our Benzie County staff and our community. We ask for guidance and wisdom during our meeting today. And now may the words of our mouths and the meditations of our heart be pleasing in your sight. We offer this prayer in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. You had the agenda in advance of the meeting. Take note on the agenda that we have stricken the Material Management Advisory Committee already. Is there any additions, corrections to the agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Nye moves to approve as corrected.
Second.
If there's no other comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You had the minutes of January 27th in advance. Do you have any comments on that?
Moves to approve the minutes from 1/27/26.
All support.
Thank you. Additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll open up to the first public comment period. Anybody from the public like to make a comment? Seeing none, let's move into elected officials and department heads.
Oh, Michael.
Get me out of the way, real.
Just want to update you guys.
State your name and department, please.
Michael Beach, I'm with the Equalization Department here.
Thank you.
An update since last month, we're continuing staff development. You'll remember Matt was just took his exam last time we spoke. We're proud to report he is now a Michigan certified assessing technician. Kat has her exam scheduled for next week. And we're expecting positive news for her to become Michigan certified assessing officer. County hosted a training session for our GIS system for both equalization staff as well as the local real estate office. In that vein, the GIS data that we've been waiting for from MySail, the 6-inch improved flyover, that became available on our website as of last week. Now we're expecting to get a physical hard drive with those files, be able to distribute them to all the departments that want them within the next couple weeks.
Michael, you said a flyover?
Yeah,
Why don't you explain that, please?
The state of Michigan contracts with a company and they do extensive flyovers across the entire state. Benzie County decided to participate in a slight buy-up, improve the image quality that we receive from that flyover. So instead of a traditional 12-inch flyover, we receive a 6-inch flyover, which is much greater resolution, much more useful for a variety of purposes, including assessment administration. But those are actual planes flying over our communities that take imagery when the trees are off and you can see the ground and structures. So I know a lot of people have been waiting on that and we're starting to see that trickle in now for everyone's use.
Thank you.
You said that's available on your website now?
Yeah, if you go to the equalization homepage in Benzie County, you'll see a big link. It says parcel search.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, that you can find it now. There's a drop down where you can select what imagery source you want. This would be the 2025 flyover.
Thank you.
Of course. I know last time we spoke about addressing, I just wanted to assuage some fears there. A plan was developed to clean our last good data set for our mailing addresses, and that will be planned to be made available to our local assessors by the time our summer tax bill printing comes around. So those folks will have an opportunity to take a look at the data that we think is good and decide whether or not they want to move forward with seeing that data set. One of the big reasons I wanted to speak to you is to put it on your guys' radar about a Supreme Court case that's coming up that really could affect local government funding for not only Michigan, but for many states throughout our country. It's Pung versus Isabella County, which is from right here in Michigan. And the case has to do with property forfeiture, how those proceeds are divvied up. Interested parties, both the county and the homeowner. So the way the current system works is an auction is held and the excess proceeds, after any outstanding tax liabilities covered, are returned to the homeowners. The Pungs argue that instead of that being the auction price, it should instead be the fair market value. So whatever the true cash value is the assessor has in the property would be what they would like to see, as opposed to whatever the auction happened to bring. So the Supreme Court took up that case, and it's set to be argued on February 25th at 10 a.m. And you're actually able to listen in these days to the Supreme Court oral arguments. That would have pretty profound impacts on how local government is funded, as well as the viability of our property tax system in general. So the way it was explained to me, we're optimistic that this will return to lower courts, I think is what people are thinking is where it'll head. But those oral arguments should give us a bigger clue about where the Supreme Court is thinking.
Michael, can I stop you just for a moment? Kelly, is there anything you want to add to that comment? Okay.
Yeah, not a lot. We're getting to the part where the fireworks will start to, I suppose.
Okay.
Beyond that, it's just been typical office duties. We continue to process real estate documents and address requests. We're working through processing the last year's splits, and we're in the midst of auditing our assessor's work for 2025. Just a second glance to make sure everything was.
Your questions for Michael?
You said that was being heard at the state Supreme Court?
United States Supreme Court.
United States.
So aside from that, you've been in the job how long now?
We're coming to the end of my probationary period, so almost 90 days.
Probationary period. Something negative about that, isn't there? Aside from that, one of our concerns was making sure all year-end reports got in. Are we current in all of our reporting now to the state?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we have been for a couple months now. Yep. So we got worked a lot of long hours to get that put away right away. And I would say, I mean, ideally, the splits that we've been working on, those would have been done throughout the year but more or less we're caught up in current.
Very good. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bridget Hassig and I'm with Benzie Senior Resources. And I did have an opportunity to speak with Art and Katie recently to let them know that I'll actually be stepping down from my role as Executive Director at Benzie Senior Resources. That will be effective this month. And my board chair wasn't able to come this morning, but we wanted to know that there's a united front in this transition. And so I will be involved in the transition, which may take 1 or 2 months, and working with Benzie and kind of wrapping up some larger projects. So there's continuity, there's consistency for the staff. And so there's a greater degree of comfort too with the new executive director that comes in. And I'll be able to be engaged in an orientation sprint with that individual as well. We will be using a recruitment firm, as was used with me. And I just really wanted to say that this year has been extraordinary in what we have done. And it will continue to serve the community at the high level that it does. And it will continue to have the great leadership that it has. This is one of the best boards, actually, board of directors that I've ever worked with in my career. And so I think I want to leave you with confidence that this will continue to move forward in the manner that it has. And so wanted to share that with you this morning.
Questions for Bridget? Bridget, do you have any internal candidates?
That I don't know, but I would say that the intent is to go external with a recruitment firm in the hiring process.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck, by the way. Any other department heads or elected officials that'd like to speak? Get easy on us this morning. Right.
say nothing.
Bob's cautioning me not to comment on it. Why don't we move into the finance report? I was one of probably two people that looked at the APs in the last 2 weeks. You had these in advance and I'd entertain a motion if there's no,
I make the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $471,182.62.
Support.
one last chance for questions or comments. If not, we'll do roll call, please.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloff.
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Janat,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, why don't we move into new business and keep the meeting moving along? Katie, do you want to, are you and or the undersheriff introducing the next subject?
The undersheriff and Michael Drager, the IT specialist, will be introducing and covering the next subject.
Very good.
Good morning, Greg Hubers, the undersheriff, and beside me is Michael Drager. It's been a while since I've seen y'all. It's good to be back to days. If you didn't know, I've been on afternoons for the past several meetings, so it was a good thing. It was well needed. And I'm very happy. During the budget process, we were approved for the jail for $60,000 for camera upgrades within the jail. The $60,000 to be used for cameras and or servers. Rebecca Hubers and I and Michael sat down and really decided what we needed, and we realized that there's no sense upgrading cameras until we get the server upgraded. Our current server is failing. Michael, is that fair enough? It is failing. I looked at the jail log last night and it went down again twice during the evening last night. What that means is during those 2 to 10-minute time periods, those cameras are down, that we don't physically have eyes on everything within the jail. So this is an important project. We did seek bids. We received bids from Crouch Communications, from TKS Security, and we sought bids from People Driven Technology, who originally gave us a bid, but we asked for some more things because it wasn't apples to apples, and they just never got back with us. So we got 2 of the 3 bids, with one just never giving us a final bid. In those bids, the lowest bid comes in with Crouch Communications, and I'm assuming that you have this in your packet. Their bid was in the amount of $43,436 as compared to $61,000 from TKS Security. These are apples to apples. I can go on for hours about what this is going to do, but this is replacing basically the server and making it capable for us to start replacing outdated cameras. And really, we're talking about replacing a whole lot of analog cameras with digital cameras, and we can't do that until this server project is done. Our asking amount's a little more than that $43,000, and that's because there are some things that we need to replace. That Benzie County's obligated to replace the switches that are a little over $1,000 a piece, and some cabling if it goes beyond 100 feet. So I think the total ask was not to exceed $50,000. So we're still well under that $60,000 that we budgeted for in this year's budget. So what we're asking is that you approve an amount not to exceed 50,000. And that Crouch Communications be the vendor that we use for the server upgrade.
I'd like to make that motion.
I'll support. That was quick. We have the motion and. Okay,
I do have questions though.
please.
This is more for Michael, by the way.
I was gonna just say, I'm gonna push Michael forward.
That's why I asked to be here, Michael.
One of the things that I noticed, the operating system on this camera, are you very familiar with it?
So it's a hardened Linux OS operating system.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that, yes, we're familiar with it.
I'm sorry, you're prepared to support it, I guess is the question I have for you.
100%. All of our thing works on Linux. We're happy. Yeah, so.
I did review the both, quotes rather thoroughly.
Great.
And I am more, comfortable with one that you guys recommended, to be honest with you. But one of the things in their warranty, that stood out to me, warranty work will be performed as soon as possible upon notification. Is there an urgency to have these cameras up and working? I mean, and this could be a question for Greg, not you necessarily. Because as soon as possible to me may mean something, you may want to put some context behind that.
Well, I can actually. So one of the things that it's a Dell server underneath all of the marketing, right? It says a Vigilon on the front, but it's really would that back 4 year.
I'm sorry,
Or how-
closer to the microphone.
Sorry about that. It's a Dell server underneath. So that comes from the warranty and all of that comes from Dell. So we were able to get into the quote, a Dell service, which is a 4-hour mission critical warranty, right? So we can, yes, to answer that question, it is a mission critical thing. And so we wanted to make sure that we have
I'm
the
just
support
saying
for that.
what was provided to us
Sure.
says as soon as possible,
Right.
because that does not imply 4 hours.
Sure. Yeah, I think I don't know 100% that Crouch would be the vendor that would do the 4-hour mission critical, because again, that's going through Dell.
Well,
so
there's
it's gotta be
different
a Dell
components,
vendor.
right?
Mhm.
You have the server.
Yep.
Linux based on a Dell server.
Right.
Fine. It'd be the operating system. Is Dell gonna come support that, or is that gonna be,
It depends, but you're right. You're right. It depends. I would think that in that circumstance, because operating system is installed, but it's in a Vigilon operating system, that's going to be through Crouch. It would be my expectation.
I guess just what I'm getting at is you may want to tighten up the language on any type of warranty.
Sure.
I mean, as soon as possible, that could be to them, well, we get you next week.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I was just pointing that out. I just noticed that.
So should that be something we add an amendment to that motion?
It's his butt that's gonna have to take care of the stuff. so-
It's our butt that's paying for it, well, making sure it's gonna be done correctly.
Oh, quick question, guys.
Yeah.
What is your overall timeline from when we're talking about it now? Setting up the server, getting the cameras, so we have actual 100% visibility, not a 10-minute dark window.
Sure. You, if you don't mind, I can do, okay. So I don't know right off the bat, just because we haven't gotten that far forward with, is that server directly available right this second from Crouch Communications? But this is, part of a longer project, like the sheriff was saying, we have to replace some of these older cameras.
Right.
So we're expecting this server to last us for many years in that transition. So can't give you a specific, it'll be up and running in 30 days, just because I don't know. I'm expecting them to have them in stock and kind of ready to ship. But there will be also some setup time.
Right.
For a couple days. Sooner rather than later is our goal.
I was just curious if in the time where you're getting the server set up, if you already know what the compatible cameras and the numbers of cameras you're going to need are, like you could save some time pre-ordering and.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we are working on that already.
Okay.
Making sure that we have the logins and the passwords for all of the cameras.
Nice.
So we want it to be as seamless as possible. And when Crouch, it's a.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
Other questions or comments? So before I call for the vote, based on Gary's comments, Tim's review of this, without affecting the motion, could we include in the minutes that it's been requested that the language on the warranty be more clearly defined? But not, I don't want to affect the motion. Tim, thanks for your review and questions. We appreciate that. All right, let's do roll call.
Matthews,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloffs,
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Janai,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
motion carried.
Under Sheriff, would you like to introduce the next subject?
Yes, this is a budget amendment, for training funds. This really is moving, training funds from the training fund budget to the MCOLS budget. MCOLS is our law enforcement certifying agency. They are very close on tracking the funds, and I know exactly how many funds what amount of funds I used last year. And those line items during an audit have to match up identical. During the transition process, and some miscommunication between Brenda and I will take the blame for that. We were drawing money from the wrong funds. The money was there, but we have to get exact amount into that MCOLS fund to make that balance in case we are audited by MCOLS, and there's a pretty high probability of that audit.
I'll make the motion. The Board of Commissioners authorizes a budget amendment on of $5,420 to
Recognize.
tokenize recognize revenue and related expenditures related to sheriff office training.
Missed the RE, I'm sorry.
Support.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloffs,
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Janai,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
carried.
Are you?
I am not, I'm good there.
You can stay as long as you want.
No, thank you all. I appreciate it very much.
And we appreciate your efforts. Katie, you want to introduce the next subject?
Sure. The next item, I'll invite Rebecca Hubers up to go over a little more in detail. But what is being asked today is the approval to apply for a grant application for work to be performed within Rebecca's purview.
Morning, Rebecca Hubers, Office of Emergency Management. I am looking for the signature of the chair and permission to apply for a 2026 Michigan Public Safety Critical Incident Mapping Competitive Grant. I always put lots of words for some reason in that's why we have acronyms, I guess, in emergency management. There's always these long titles. Back in 23-24, we used a Department of Education grant to map our schools. It's a strategic, almost military-like mapping system with grids that allow our first responders to go to our numbered doors and be able to stage in a certain grid and do all of these things behind the scenes to be uniform. This opportunity became available. It is a competitive grant, so I don't know if we'll get it, but we're going to apply through Michigan State Police to pretty much mimic that mapping in other locations in Benzie County that are considered critical infrastructure. So in my request, I included one of our schools that isn't a public schools that doesn't get DOE funding, and that would be New Covenant Christian Academy. And then I included the Government Center, I included the Maples, and I included Paul Oliver. If that works out for them, to be able to have mapping of those facilities, because there's so many doors, so many people. So the buildings are of the bigger buildings in our community that would be considered critical, and we would respond to there and have to be organized when we respond to those locations. So this map is to see if we can get some funding to complete that project and kind of be uniform along some of our bigger facilities in It is it's not a reimbursable one. It's pretty much, we submit it, they'll give us the money like they have for appropriations on other grants. So there's nothing fronted on our, either get it or we don't.
And as your memo indicated, there's no match.
No match.
I'll make the motion. You already got it, don't you? Gary, for the public's benefit. Okay, I'll read it. That the Board of Commissioners approves the submission of the grant application to the Michigan Public Safety Critical Incident Mapping Grant Program and authorizes the county administrator to assign and further authorizes a memorandum of understanding with Critical Response Group outlined in its intent to support Benzie County during the grant process, if awarded, authorizing the chair to sign.
9 seconds.
Thank you. I'll open it up to questions or comments. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Janai.
Yes.
Markey.
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Carried.
Next subject, please.
The next subject is the budget amendment for Rebecca. Rebecca was one of the lucky awardees of the 2% grant from the local tribe. And so the purpose of today is to recognize the revenue so she can use those funds accordingly.
I move that the Board of Commissioners authorizes a budget amendment in the amount of $3,342.30 to recognize revenue and related expenditures from a grant award.
Markey will support.
Questions or comments for Rebecca? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Janai.
Yes.
Markey.
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item is the paid time off policy, and Leslie's going to come up and give an overview of this policy. There was an updated policy set on your desk this morning. There was a statement that was left off the policy that was put in the packet, and so Leslie will go over that for you.
Yeah, so thank you. You'll notice the paid time off policy was updated last in 2024. The reason for this review is to clean up for the ESTA, Michigan Earned Sick Time Act. The line that was added in addition to your red line is on section 3B. Sorry about that, 2 B's in a row. And that's just for a little more clarity. You'll see if you've reviewed it. The clarity is for payroll administration, primarily on how to pay out vacation time, PTO time, any miscellaneous time, and also if part-time people, how to use their sick time or PTO. I received feedback from 4 department heads with just, hey, it looks good. I've received no other feedback. I don't know if you have any questions. It's pretty clear in the red line what we're doing there.
And this is a streamlining effort as well, correct?
Absolutely. There's some ambiguity on payroll administration on how to process some of these extra miscellaneous pays, vacation pays, longevity pays. This kind of lines it up with some of the union contract language, which is pretty clear on when separate checks should be cut and when they shouldn't be. So this kind of helps the Benzie County policy mirror that. And if it's not in a union contract, then it falls back on Benzie County policy. So it helps navigate that for payroll administration and also sets for our staff, like a clear picture of this is how it's handled. There's not a guess. There's not, do you have to email? Do you not email? Do you call? Do you chat? What do you do? It's pretty clear here. So it's just a nice black and white system for handling or eliminating, like I like to say, a room for human error.
How many employees do we have that were hired before January 1st, 1992?
I did not come prepared with that number.
I think there's still a couple stragglers. Yeah.
I figured there would be a
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah, there's a couple stragglers left. Not many, though.
I mean, that's dedication.
So again, I made mention to Katie that on section 3H, it says part-time employees' unused PTO will expire each year on December 1st without option for rollover or payout. And so it wasn't quite clear to me in the policy that means that your part-time employees are front-loaded. Because my understanding of the policy is that if you front-load
Yeah.
PTO, then it doesn't roll over, but if you accrue it, it can roll
So-
over.
So actually, the part-time right now accrues it, per ESTA, per the Michigan, Earned Sick Time Act. For every 30 hours worked, they receive 1 hour of PTO. That's the way it's set up in the BSNA system.
So
It's not front-loaded because, the hours would change so much, right?
Yep, I know.
But
Um,
under ESTA, if we are not going to be paying out, we will have to try to estimate some of those hours. But then we have to clean it up on the back end as we get through the year. Because some of our part-time folks, for instance, like EMS, we just don't know how much they're going to work. Whereas with animal control, we have a pretty good schedule up there and we kind of know the hours that they're working. So it's going to be really fluid for all the different part-time positions to really establish, you know, how much and when and that sort of thing. Just because some of these folks, I mean, they could work 12 hours every 3 months. Yeah. It makes it very difficult.
So I guess the part to me that stands out is, right, is so, you know, the new year starts. And so a part-time person, you know, puts in for sick time right away. They should be able to get that because, it isn't accrued. I mean, yes, it does accrue, right? But you front load it so that that person can get that PTO right away. Because it seems to me that's that whole, this is your perk for not having this rollover, is my understanding of the policy.
I guess that's up to discussion by the Board of Commission, how you'd like to handle that. With full-time, obviously you have the choice to roll over or be paid out. In some of the feedback with department heads, I've received that part-timers do somewhat get to choose their schedule. If they can't come in one day, they can pick another day. So it really is up to the board if you feel like part-timers should get a rollover or payout of their time, or a use it or lose it type of schedule. That's up for discussion if you so choose.
Well, I think it has to do with the actual law. The ESTA says that if you front load it, you can cut them off and not give them, and not roll it over. But if BSNA is set to accrue, then that will have to roll over because that's how the law is stated.
Yeah, I ran it by legal. He didn't really critique that portion of it, to my knowledge. We can certainly do that again, and verify if that's what you would like to do, or we accommodate our process that if you do not want it to roll over or be paid out, then we'll simply front load PTO to part-timers based on an estimated workload schedule. But I don't have that legal answer, as it was reviewed by our legal department and they did not comment on that.
Doesn't that create a situation though, if you estimate and front load and then those hours aren't worked?
That's correct.
Created another situation?
Yeah.
The law really set up a flawed system in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel like should happen at this point?
Well, if we decided that we can't front load it and it's accrued, then I think it should roll over.
It has to roll over, but
yeah.
we're not paying it out, is how.
Oh, is that what it's saying?
Because that's the big thing, is payout or
It
not
says, it
payout.
says rollover or payout without option for rollover or payout. So
Right.
we'd have to strike rollover and just say payout.
Without the option of payout, correct?
We can do that.
Then to me, it would have to roll over.
Okay, just to recap, so everybody's on the same page, if I understand Christy correct, put time into understanding that, which I appreciate. We're going to allow part-timers to accrue their time. It can't be paid out on December 1st, but it can roll over. So we need to strike the word rollover.
That's my understanding of what Christy's saying.
We're gonna limit the amount of hours they can roll over
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
from one year to the next. I mean, what happens if they keep rolling over?
Was that 80 hours apply or not?
72 would apply.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean, they worked here for 10 years and they always rolled everything over.
Right.
That could be a substantial amount. So
It-
you
it's
make me
just how
wanna,
it's how the law is written. I mean,
Well, we may want to put a limit on that, you know, you gotta use at least part of it, or
Yeah, the law says that employers can cap the total accrued at 72 hours. If you're a large employer, which obviously Benzie County is. If it's accrual. Or you front load and you, like Christy said, you can not carry it over and not pay out. So there's, you know, which is easier, you know, for administration? Well, it's a lot easier for me to accrue the time. I don't have to think about it. It's just set up. Does that make sense for Benzie County? Is up to you guys to discuss on how you want to handle, if you want to roll it over or not.
Well, I'm understanding two different things. I'm hearing Christy say that it has to roll over. And I'm hearing you say
Yes.
that we have the option to neither roll over or pay out.
If you want me to front load PTO for part-time people, then you can cut it off where it doesn't roll over or doesn't get paid out if you're front loading. So it's two different systems. Yeah, so it would, you know, just like we, for the full-time staff, we put in 84 hours on December 1st of PTO, right? And that's front loaded. So you could do a system similar to that to part-timers where it's 72 hours. And then at the end of the year, when you get to November 30th, whatever they don't use, they lose, but then December 1st comes around again and you get another 72 hours that's front loaded. Or if you're on an accrual system, then you basically wouldn't end it on that 11/30. If they have 5 hours left in their bank or 15 hours left in their bank, they carry it over, but then they just keep accruing. So it's just two different processes.
what I was
Yeah.
getting at is we keep accruing, we put a cap on that at one point. So it's not ever above the 72 hours.
You can do that.
That way they can't, like I said, be here for 20 years and have a couple hundred hours worth of,
Yes, I think that's what it says, is there is a cap to.
but
Uh,
if it states that, we may want to put that in our policy is what I'm getting at.
Is there a cap on this policy as it's presented to us?
Not for the part-time people.
But for the full-time people?
The full-time people, we have 84 hours that we put into their PTO. They can roll over or be paid out up to 80.
I was getting at, allow them to roll it over, but we put a cap on it.
Yeah, that I am not as familiar as far as the law goes, so that would have to be something that,
You can cap 72 hours.
okay.
Mhm.
But is that this cap 72 hours to roll over?
You can, yes. So it really depends on which way you want to go. Do you want to, I think the discussion is, if you want to preload the PTO hours, what would make sense to me is that you're putting 72 hours in, that amount that you want to cap. The fiscal years goes by on November 30th, then that bank, if there's any left, is eliminated. And a new bank is deposited December 1st, the same time the full-time people get their 84, part-time people would get their 72. And that could be a system that you would use, and that's very clear and straightforward. Or the alternative is, well, we have some part-time people that might work 1 week a month. We have some part-time people that work every week. So should they be on an earned PTO system, which would be for every 30 hours they work, they get 1 hour of PTO. So if you get to the end of the year and it's November 30th and they have used some PTO, but they have 15 hours left in their bank, they roll that over into their bank. To Christy's point, then if they get sick on December 1st, they have PTO in their bank that they can use. That would be the accrual method. So, and with that accrual method, you can still cap that they can earn no more than 72 hours if you choose to cap it at that. I don't have an estimate on what the, Katie, you want to do a 90 hours a month accrual and see how much that'd be like what our highest part-time people work.
Well, it's an hour per
Yeah.
30,
So that'd be 3 hours a month. So
36 hours.
So that'd be 36 hours. So.
Yeah, but
That
after
would seem
3
silly to
years,
front load 72.
Right.
Mhm.
but after 4 or 5 years, never took sick time and always rolled it over. That's where I'm saying the cap should be at.
Mhm.
Makes a Would our part-time employees ever hit that? Probably not. But I think the accrual method is what you're suggesting because it's already set up. And I'm comfortable with that. I'd rather do it accrual than front loading.
I'm comfortable with whatever the board decides. The accrual method is certainly easy because the system tracks it per hour worked. But that doesn't mean I can't pivot and do another system.
And that's fine. We can keep this. Then, you know, if we choose to do that in section 8, we just, section 3. It was section 3. Section 3H, we just strike rollover. Or, yeah.
Yeah, if we're going to accrue it, then then H would say part-time employees unused PTO will roll over up to 72 hours on December 1st with no option for payout if we're doing the accrual method. That makes sense, everybody?
I would prefer the accrual method. When you front load something and somebody takes it and leaves, and you gotta fight to.
It would be a little bit more challenging when it's a part-time person. With full-time people leave mid-year, then you do a proration and look at their vacation hours and holiday hours or anything else they might have in their banks, and you would deduct it from that. But yes, that would be a little bit
And
more
the
difficult.
intent is to give our employees these days and they take them.
Yes, that's the point.
That's all.
Yes.
That's the point, and I don't want to deviate that, but they need to earn them. So.
I'm in agreement that it should be accrued. I'm definitely in agreement that there needs to be a cap on it because it creates a financial liability for the county that makes it very difficult to anticipate. And the subject, the items we've been talking about, is that already built into this policy or are we having to make some language changes?
For the part-time people,
Yeah.
it's not built into the policy. So that's language changes into the policy right now. It's not clear.
How detrimental would it be for us to ask you to make those changes so you have a chance to think through the language and the mechanics of it and then bring it back at our next meeting?
That wouldn't be detrimental at all.
Or would it be more prudent to accept the policy as it's written and then amend it once that verbiage is decided on?
Well, I think the language for H is, as articulated, would work. You could make a motion to adopt the policy with the corrected language for letter H that part-time employees unused PTO may roll over on December 1st, no more than 72 hours without option for payout. And I think that makes it pretty clear.
That's acceptable.
But if, you know, whatever the board would like to do is fine. I'm not concerned about any payouts or anything. We've already been through that process on December 1st. So I would like to have a compliant PTO policy with ESTA. We're a little behind on that. February 21st was the day, I believe. So
Is there any other parts of the policy that we need to discuss? Are you okay with the changes that Leslie's proposing based on our conversation for section 3H? Anything else you want to?
Do we have to add the accrued part in there, or is that just assumed?
we have that each part-time employee shall receive PTO pursuant to Michigan's Earned Sick Time Act 233 of 2018 on an accrual basis of 1 per 30 hours. So that's already in there.
As I am curious, how did we arrive at December 1st? Our fiscal year's October 1.
You're right.
The year's January
I
1.
misspoke on that one. I don't know how we arrived at December 1st as that was pre-Leslie.
All of the union contracts I inherited were December 1st or 15th, weirdly enough. I don't know why Benzie County landed on those days. That was contracts before me.
Yeah. Be nice if there was some continuity. that
Yes.
fiscal year,
Well,
calendar year, but
Moving them all to December is adding that because when I started, there was some in October, some in November, some in December, and some in January, actually. So December did put everybody, it aligned everybody for different payouts and other things. But again, I just don't know why we maybe some folks who've been here longer know why we landed on December versus with the fiscal year. I'm not sure.
I can guess.
You can guess all you'd like.
Has to do with getting paid out right before Christmas.
Absolutely.
I'll almost guarantee that's one.
Yes, it's an astute observation.
any questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion.
Let me get to it. I move that the board approves the policy as amended 3H, saying part-time employees unused PTO will
Roll over
roll over.
a maximum of 72 hours on December 1st without option of payout.
Thank you. Thank you for your assist.
Got it.
I'll support.
Additional comments? Questions?
I'm just wondering if the verbiage to rescind the previous policy that's in the prepared motion needs to be added.
Oh, I can add that and rescinds the paid time off policy previously adopted on August 27, 2024.
Again, any questions or comments? Let's do roll call.
Greg,
Yes.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloff,
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right. Thanks for the attention you gave to this. Katie, do you want to introduce the next subject, please?
I'll let Leslie take care of it.
Thank you. So I'll have an assist from Tammy and Katie if needed on the historicity of the educational assistance policy. But as I understand, the personnel policy used to be one big manual. And if you look at the staff manual from 2016, there are still sections in there that have not been reviewed and made an individual policy, as many of the sections already have. Case in point, the one we just looked at, the PTO policy, was removed from that one big giant personnel and created individual. For obvious reasons, it's a lot easier to edit, to review. You should have these individual policies and so on and so forth. The educational assistance policy is still in effect. That's in the staff manual for 2016. And you can see on the packet that I provided you, there's a red line version. So the red line are the new suggested edits to it. But the primary differences or edits that are suggested, this has been discussed with all department heads and feedback has been provided to staff. Right now, the educational policy has 100% tuition reimbursement for staff should they apply. There is a process, however. This is for voluntary education that has to be approved by your department head. It has to be related to your job, and you have to have it in the budget. So this is not saying that all staff at Benzie County are now going to get their master's degree or a certificate because they want to and don't have it. This is saying if you're pursuing further education that benefits your role at Benzie County and your department head and the county administrator say, yes, it's in the budget and yes, this is applicable to your role. So there are steps that you have to go through. The biggest difference in what's proposed in front of you is that there is a cap on that tuition reimbursement. And that cap was calculated by taking the average cost of tuition credits, which is 600 per hour. The range was like 450 to 700. And part-time students in general don't take more than 6 credits per semester. That also allows your staff and your employee to still dedicate and make sure they're focusing on their work at Benzie County and not get overwhelmed and whatnot with taking on a degree. So there is a cap here that's not in the current policy. So averaging that, it's 3,600 per term on an educational reimbursement for tuition only. That does not include fees. There's no reimbursement for fees or any extra books or extra costs to the class. We added some language on accredited college, university, or trade school. Some staff provided feedback that they really appreciated seeing that in there. Should there be something that might relate to Benzie County? Who knows, maybe it's HVAC someday. And there's a trade school for somebody that would have a role here that might need that, that would be available to them as well. So it's opening up, so it's not just a college or a university. That's the biggest highlight of the change in the educational assistance policy. The other one is the timing. The policy that exists in the 2016 manual says after 1 year, and after discussion with some department heads and staff, we looked at a 90-day the 90-day probation period, because it is it's an encouragement of your staff to better your staff. If you have somebody that really wants to further themselves at Benzie County and something is applicable to them to improve their knowledge, skills, and abilities for their role, why wait? And also, it helps retention rates too. If you're providing the proper education for your staff and they want to further their development in the career with Benzie County. If somebody were to be reimbursed tuition and in 1 year left, there's a rate on that second page that says, well, you've got to pay back this percentage. If you leave within 2 years, here's this percentage you need to pay back. And in 3 years, here's another percentage you need to pay back. So after 4 years, then no, there's no payment back of a tuition reimbursement, but there is a graduated decline of percentage should somebody leave after they achieve their coursework.
Questions?
Yes, on section 2E, it says employees eligible for education compensation under scholarship, GI Bill, et cetera, must exhaust that. Shouldn't that be, instead of eligible, shouldn't that be and using or some other action verb there? Because just because you're eligible for example, the GI Bill doesn't mean you're going to use it for a particular program. You could have it sitting out there for future use, give your kids, depending on what type of GI Bill it is. To me, it seems like if you're using any other source, you should use that first. You know, it just makes more sense. Otherwise, there's a potential for double dipping on there.
So that's the idea, is Benzie should be the last resort.
Right.
Versus the first resort. So if they have a GI Bill, the expectation is they're using that GI Bill and they're not coming to Benzie County first. That's the expectation. Benzie is the last in this situation.
All right. The word eligible, I didn't like.
Right.
So my concern involves the amount we're offering. I'm assuming we're assuming 2 semesters a year for school. That's, $7,200. This is an assistance program. To pay that amount, I mean, if you take, I don't know offhand what the average salary is at Benzie, but you're looking at a 12% perk on an average payroll, I would think.
This is lower than your policy you put in place in 2016, which says 100% of the
I don't think
tuition.
to be fair, I don't think any of us were aware of that policy.
Yeah, I wasn't here. I'm not sure, but
So
the
I was not
policy
aware
then-
of the policy, and I'm glad that we have it. And we do have general, this board is very supportive of our staff doing continuing education, doing conferences, bettering themselves, and I want to continue to support that. This amount, I'm wondering if it could be more measured or if it could be reduced at all, or if anybody would want to have that discussion. I mean, if you're offering somebody a perk of a full-time employee of $1 an hour, we all know that's $2,080. This reflects a benefit that I don't think I think it's more than assistance. Well, I would be in favor of, subsidizing, helping. I don't want to see the policy go away. The amount seems to be a lot. But maybe others don't hold that view. I just offer that.
In the previous 12 months, how many employees did we have taking advantage of tuition reimbursement?
0.
0.
In my 5 years, it's been 0.
I mean, to be fair, I think the policy was found. It was discussed. I mean, Tammy, were you aware? You've been here.
Yeah.
You were aware of it? Okay. I mean,
And there has been staff in the past that use the educational assistance policy.
Very rarely, but yeah, we've had a couple.
I mean, I've known the policy was there. It was just a matter of which ones we've gotten to, as we go through that 16 manual and rescind the different sections and adopt new policies. We have a spreadsheet of all the sections, and it was towards the bottom of the list. And so we just hadn't got to it yet. Now we're trying to finish that list and update and those sorts of things. So that's why it's,
no,
up
I
for
applaud that
discussion.
effort. I do.
I think the point that's trying to be made is that maybe we didn't have anybody using it because most employees weren't aware of it.
Oh,
I think that's the point.
every employee is required to sign off on the personnel policy manual when they're hired.
Just to have an opinion, this is something that we can come back and revisit if we find it to be a financial burden on the county. Like you, Rhonda, I have full support of helping our employees continue education on issues that are related to their specific job. So even if they were taking 6 credit hours, quite frankly, might only be 4 of them that are eligible.
Right.
If they're trying to get even an associate's degree.
Didn't I hear Leslie say that it's each department head's budget that this comes out of and that decisions have to be made by the department heads?
And it has to be approved. It
And
has to be
approved by
approved.
us
The
too, or
No.
department.
just by the department? head?
Well,
no, the
let me back you up
Okay.
a little bit here. So there's going to be some long-term planning that goes into this because we're going to have budgeted these dollars. So we'll take Tammy's staff, for instance. If Ally decides she wants to utilize this policy, she needs to come to Tammy now and discuss the intentions so that when we get into budgeting in 2 months, Tammy can say, hey, Ally has these intentions. She'd like to do that. This is what she's going to do. Tammy and I are going to have a conversation about, okay, she's not doing basket weaving, but instead she's actually going for court administration of some sort, which is applicable to her job. And then we're going to put that into the budget. And then at budget time, you're going to see that line. And then you're able to approve or not approve that budget, right? I could say that, yep, I think this is a great idea. We're going to budget for it. But ultimately, the Board of Commissioners could not approve that budget at budget time.
Well, the department head and yourself are approving the course. We're approving the expenditure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but at budgeting time, these have to be budgeted. So
I keep hearing 6 credit hours. What did you say, Leslie? I'm sorry, the value of, what is the median cost of a credit hour?
$600 a credit hour.
Okay.
That's the assumption you're using.
that's the average.
That's the average. So in the research that I did, there's some that are less, some that are a lot more. So, but that was the mean.
I'm assuming that you took data from NMC, right?
NMC is a little bit unique, right? There's a lot of college programs out there now for somebody who does not have a degree as an adult. If you're 25 or older, you can take advantage of, I keep wanting to say early college, and that's not it. If you live in Grand Traverse County, you can go to NMC for free. If you live in Benzie County, you'll have a reduced where you only pay that difference. So certainly that's an encouragement that department heads and staff can do for any staff that want to get an associate's degree is, well, and I don't have the numbers, but just to make it easy, if NMC were 100 per credit hour, and if you lived in Grand Traverse County, or if it was 120 if you're in Benzie County, then you'd pay that $20 difference is all. So that's a unique situation that the state of Michigan, by their 60 by 30 initiative, that 60% of adults have a degree or certificate by 2030. So, in theory, somebody who lives in Benzie County could go to NMC right now at a very reduced rate if they were interested in pursuing further education. And in Grand Traverse County, if you do not have a degree, you could go for free right now.
And the policy too is to say it's not to exceed 3,600. So in this situation, if somebody were to go to NMC and they're paying the difference of $25, whatever it is, we're only reimbursing that, right? We're not reimbursing the full kit and caboodle. You know, it would just be that. So it's up to $3,600. And so it could be $600, right? Because again, there's also Section E, which you brought up, is you got to use all these other avenues first. You got to exhaust those other avenues. So for somebody in Benzie County wanting to pursue a degree at NMC, they would have to utilize that 30 initiative that the state put in place for associate's degree. They'd have to utilize that resource first before coming to Benzie County. I think 3,600 is very worst case scenario from a budget standpoint. I don't want to say worse in the sense people are bettering themselves, but from a budget standpoint, I think 3,600 is worst case scenario specifically.
And again, for me, it's an assistance program. I think I would be more comfortable with the 3,600 per year. So the assistance being proposed is perhaps half of a full-time. So the folks pursuing what they're pursuing have skin in the game and are contributing as well, instead of the county funding the whole thing. I'm just wondering, I'm starting conversation if a more measured approach should be considered.
So my take on that too is it is assistance because there's more to going to college than just the tuition. You know, there's the books, there's getting there, there's whatever else you have to do. So anyway, to me, this is still assistance because we're not paying everything. We're just paying the tuition part. And then it's not even a full semester to your point, you know, we don't want to pay, I don't know, because I thought I heard you say we didn't want to pay like a full semester. We
I'm
just,
saying there are 2 semesters, so this yearly impact would be 7,200 for, at worst case, as you say, worst case.
for the budget.
I don't want to say worse
No,
in the
no,
sense.
not- that's a-
For the
that-
budget,
yeah,
yes.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it tells our folks that yes, we are investing in you. We are investing in our community, right? Because when we invest in our folks, we're lifting up the community. I do like that. To me, this does cap things, and I thought it was actually quite restrictive. Because yes, for me to go, you know, you would go for 12 credit hours a semester is full time. And this is half of that. And you're taking the average. So yeah, I mean, I think there is some restriction there, and it is just assistance because there's more to going to college than just the tuition part.
The average cost to go to college in Michigan at a public university, not including housing, so just tuition and books and that sort of thing, is $13,000 to $15,000 a year.
I know.
I know you've paid for a lot of kids.
I mean, potentially it could be 3 semesters because they have a shortened semester period in the summer.
Yeah.
But something I think that we need to get back to stress, if it's a financial concern, is that this has to be requested prior to the budget being approved. And the budget itself, if it doesn't support it, then that would have to be denied anyway.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, myself, the department head and or elected official could support this and want to move this forward. But if the budget's not there, the budget's not there.
Is there a caveat in this policy that says that, you know, that there are stopgaps here? That, I mean, if we can't afford it, that it won't happen. I mean, I don't know.
Well, the pre-approved by the employee's department head
Okay,
and the county administrator is in here.
okay.
And my approvals would not be able to be given until the budget's adopted.
Okay. Okay.
You know, in government, what you have to remember is there's lots of programs and policies that are recommended.
Yeah.
But then it goes to the appropriations committee, which that's us. And so sometimes they just simply get roadblocked.
Yeah.
So in the past, you said you recalled employees who have used this program. Was that the process that it went through? It was put into the budget process for
That
the
was
year, and that
pre-me.
department carved out of their budget that amount be set aside for that individual's education?
So that was pre me in Benzie County. Since I've been here, there's never been one. So I don't know if Tammy or maybe Kelly or Paula could recall that time. I can tell you my time in Traverse City, we had a tuition reimbursement program and it was part of the budget. They had a line carved out within the Human Resources Department for tuition payments. And it was the same sort of thing. If you left too soon, you had to pay certain percentages back. But it went through a whole approval process of your department head and the city manager, and then HR would manage that. But it was dollars, right? And if it wasn't approved in the budget, very unlikely you were going to get it approved because you had to go to the Board of Commission to get a budget amendment, which was very unlikely. So kind of the same process when I was in Traverse City. I don't know the process here because I wasn't here.
It was
Fair enough.
basically the same. I mean, I only remember two people. One was in the court system, the juvenile system, and it with the judge worked with
Administration.
the administration on that. And then there was certain things they had to prove that they had passed at a certain level, and
Yeah. And this says C. You have to have at least a C or equivalent or higher.
the other one I want to think was equalization a long time ago. Yeah. And to be honest with you, most of any training that our department, and I know a lot of other departments is unique training, and we go to that through our budget, our different courses, conference stuff. It's all unique.
Yeah. I really don't think this policy would be used tremendously, honestly, because of the specific departments. They're sending their folks to specific job training. This is for somebody who has an associate's, but really would like to have a bachelor's because, you know, the bachelor's may promote them to the department head someday or something like that. That's where this would kind of tie in.
I have to tell you, I'd like to see it get used.
I would
I mean,
too.
statistically, it's proven that employees that are looking to better themselves are better employees.
Maybe I want a PhD. Just kidding.
Not sure you need one to work here, but
I'm just
one credit covered.
you have a proposed motion in front of you.
Trigg moves that the Board of Commissioners adopt the Benzie County Educational Assistance Policy as presented and discussed today, and that Section 13 Educational Assistance in the 2016 Staff Policy Manual be rescinded.
Matthew Sports.
We've had a lot of discussion on it. Any further discussion?
I'm just curious, nowadays, people don't always look for a brick and mortar program. There is a rise in online formats out there. Is there any value adding that to maybe Section 2A somewhere where it just says either, you know, in residence or?
I read that to encompass online as long as it's an accredited institution. So
Fair enough.
that would be fine.
So if this goes through, is it in place for the 2026 fiscal year because the amounts haven't been budgeted, or what does that look like?
I think if you're going to see this, your first round is going to be at budgeting this summer. So if
But
this
it is a policy that's in place, and so.
but there's no
would this-
budget, so how can I approve it?
But, so my question is, could the department head say, I have an, we've agreed, can we ask, we have the funds, can we ask for a budget amendment
They could.
to,
They could.
because it's silly to have a policy that is rendered unusable.
They could. If they were very passionate about one of their staffs to take these courses, yet there's not a budget, we can come to the Board of Commissioners and ask for a budget amendment, and it would be up to them to justify the importance of that budget amendment. And you could say, yes, we approve that budget amendment. Only you can approve budget amendments. I cannot. So yes, that could very well play out. I looking into my crystal ball, I think the first time you might see any of these requests is probably going to be with the budgeting process this summer, when we're going through that process. But you could see it sooner, depending on the circumstance. Yes.
It's probably unlikely because they've already signed up for.
That's the other thing too, is we're already into a semester.
Right.
So yes and no. Yeah.
I think the winter semester already started, right?
I think so. I think it starts in January. College in a while.
Yeah.
So
Middle of the semester.
we have a motion with support. Additional questions? Roll call, please.
Jeanette,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, of your PDF on page 35 is a motion to move into a closed session.
Trig moves that the Board of Commissioners enter into closed session to consider a written communication from legal counsel as authorized by MCL 15.2681D, and that the county administrator, deputy administrator, EMS director, and Matt Delzio enter the closed session.
Is Delzio here?
No, he's not coming now.
Is there any support? I'll support. There's no questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Jeanette,
Yes.
motion carried.
For the benefit of the public, we could be in closed session as long as 45 minutes. So keep that in mind for managing your own time. For the commissioners, would you like to take a 5-minute break before the closed session so you can?
Sure.
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Let's do it. So Order.
You are unmuted.
At 11:01.
All right, are we ready?
We are.
So back to new business on the agenda. The next item for consideration is to consider establishing a committee to discuss recycling surcharge appeals. As you know, in Benzie County, we opt in to the Public Act, which allows us to put out a surcharge to the community for recycling services, which pays for the various bins around Benzie County. We have identified that as of this year, we've received quite a few appeals to that recycling surcharge. And so what I'm asking for the Board of Commissioners to do today is to establish a subcommittee so that we can discuss the appeals of that surcharge and really talk about a process moving forward. This hasn't come before you in the past. This is a newly tracked venture that Kelly and I are on. And so we're asking for a subcommittee so that we can discuss those surcharge appeals at another time.
So I have, in preparation of this meeting and establishing the ad hoc committee, in addition to myself, I've asked Christy and Bob to serve on that committee. Is there any objection to that?
No.
And Bob, you're still okay with it?
I am.
So there is a motion in your packet to establish the committee and to appoint the 3 commissioners to that committee.
Now makes the motion that the Board of Commissioners establishes a subcommittee for the purpose of discussing the recycling surcharge appeal process, and that Commissioners Trigg, Roloff, and Janat be appointed to such committee.
Markey will support.
Additional comments? Is that a roll call?
Matthews,
Yes.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloff.
Yes.
Sauer,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Janat,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, we'll establish a time when the 3 of us can get together, okay?
I'll ask Carissa to send out a doodle poll to schedule with the 3 of you in addition to Kelly, myself, and Dave Schaefer. The next item on your agenda is related to dog licensing policy and resolution. As you know, we have new staff here in Benzie County, and those new staff have been able to take a deep dive into our dog licensing standards, our ordinance, and those sorts of things. And so through that process, we've established that there needed to be a resolution in place to establish certain timelines and deadlines as it relates to animal licensing within Benzie County. I have asked Madison Leishman and Patty Leisure to be here today. They really are the 2 that oversee this dog licensing process. And I'm sure they're back there thinking, gosh, she's going to put us on the spot. But if there is specific questions as to the resolution to put in place regarding the timelines and effective period of these licenses, they would better be able to answer those questions. But in a nutshell, this resolution would be required under the dog law to establish those timelines as it relates to the licensing of your canine friends in Benzie County.
Is there any questions on this?
Are we changing something? Wasn't it yearly, or now are you gonna do it when they get the,
Come on up, Patty. Patty Leisure is our new Chief Deputy Treasurer of Benzie County, and she really is the dog law connoisseur.
Do I need to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Okay, I am Patty Leisure, Chief Deputy Treasurer. So I believe the resolution before was collecting them March 1st. And the dog law has a bunch of different resolutions that the board can adopt, and that's one of them that you guys did adopt. I don't even know when it was adopted. But that's not how we were selling them. We changed it to the license expired with the rabies, which is usually what counties do. It's just a lot easier for owners and for staff. So that's what we're switching into. We just need a resolution for that so we can collect that way.
So in the ordinance, it stipulated these other dates. And then Tammy looked through the resolutions, and if there was a resolution establishing those dates within the ordinance, it was maybe on microfilm. But we couldn't find that resolution. And so we're cleaning this up. we're making it meet the practice that's been in place for quite a few years. And so that's why this resolution is necessary. When this resolution is then adopted to establish these new rates, you're going to see coming forward at the next meeting an actual amendment to the ordinance so that the ordinance is matching the resolution as well.
I think the only thing we did was change it when we went to 3 years.
I was saying, how many years ago was that?
Kelly was here, so,
It was done since I've been here, so.
yeah. Hasn't been done that long ago, but,
Well, there wasn't a resolution that was done if you did it.
all right,
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll read it. That the Board of Commissioners adopt resolution 2026-008. A resolution established dog lice expiration dates, conversion provisions, and licensing requirement consistent with the dog law of 1919.
Eagle second.
Their discount for multiple.
There's not.
Well,
I don't set those people.
one dog limit.
So fees will be coming forward with the ordinance changes too at a later date. And you'll see within those fees too, the addition of a new license, which would be specific for puppies. Because obviously most people are not sterilizing a puppy, until a certain date, but our fees don't reflect that practice. And so we're trying to help homeowners out and making sure we're accounting for puppies as well.
Any other comments or questions?
Sense to me.
Roll
Thanks,
call,
Patty.
please.
Nye,
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Janat,
Yes.
Markey,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Under Sheriff Hubers.
The next item on your agenda is the purchase of a detective vehicle. Under Sheriff Hubers can go into the details of that. But what's in front of you today is to purchase that detective vehicle, and there are funds within the 401 to support this purchase.
I think Katie just said everything I needed to say.
Sorry.
This request is to replace the detective lieutenant's vehicle. His vehicle has 127,832 miles on it. We are at the point with that vehicle that we're gonna start hitting some pretty serious mechanical stuff. The sheriff reached out and checked my bid and got with the local dealership. The local dealership price on a new Durango. This is not a Pursuit Durango, not the higher engine. This is a pretty low end model Durango. Got a price on that vehicle. The vehicle with the new equipment, we are moving some of the equipment, the radio, which is our biggest expense at around $5,000. We're just moving it from one vehicle to the other. So it would just be lighting and basically lighting and some other equipment. So the price that we're at, the cost of the new vehicle equipment is probably going to be around 42,500. So I'm asking for an amount not to exceed 43,000.
I'll make the motion that the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase of 2026 Dodge Durango for the Benzie County Sheriff's Detectives Bureau, and also authorizes funding to outfit the vehicle for the Detective Bureau purposes, the amount not to exceed 43,000. The funds are available in the 401 Capital Fund payable to Watson Benzie.
Craig will second.
I'll open it up to additional questions.
I do have, you made mention, so I'm going to ask. You said that, you can move like the radio over, and are those things that you yourselves do, or is that something you have to have a
No,
professional?
we have to use a vendor to do that.
Okay.
And that's why the cost gets up there a little bit
Okay.
with a vendor. I can't move those radios. Corey can't. It needs that state vendor, that state approved vendor to do it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I had one question. I noticed that we're pushing back the request for the pickup.
We
Is
are.
that what I'm reading?
Yeah.
Oh, is that gonna come next year or how we're looking?
That will come next year, which will be the third year that we brought it.
Thank you.
Additional comments or questions?
This is the third vehicle we've replaced in the fleet this year, is
Yes,
that
two
correct?
patrol vehicles.
What's the status of the two that have been previously approved?
They should be arriving in the end of February.
Very good. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Janat.
Yes.
Markey.
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right,
So
thank you.
excited.
Committee appointments. The first one, you have a memo in your packet regarding the Veterans Affair. You have a couple of options there.
So I'll make the motion that the Board of Commissioners reappoints Gary Fender and Vincent, I can't pronounce.
Zolo.
Elizondo, to a 3-year term expiring December 31, 2028 on the Veterans Affairs Authority Committee.
And I'll support, and I do want you all to know that these two gentlemen are pivotal as far as what they do for Benzie County Veterans Affairs. Thank you.
Very good. We appreciate your involvement. Any other comments or questions? You need to do that by roll call, please.
Janat.
Yes.
Markey.
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The
Thank
next one has to do with the EDC and the Brownfield. Len, you said in that interview, any comments you want to make?
Other than the gentleman seemed very well qualified. He answered our questions. Some questions were not exactly ones he could answer. They're in the future, let me show you kind of thing. But no, I'm satisfied with this guy being the right person for the position.
Very good. Anybody else want to make comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Yes, I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Paul Daines to the Economic Development and Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, term expiring 1/31 of 2031.
Nye seconds.
There's no other comments. Roll call, please.
Markey. Matthews.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Roloffs.
Yes.
Sauer.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Janat.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Good deal.
All right. That brings us to commissioner reports. Is that right?
Yep.
Christie, let's start with you today.
Okay. Well, since our last meeting, I went to the Lake Township meeting. Let me pull that up. They talked about a solution for their park. Right now they have a kiosk and they're thinking that's a little bit much for them to maintain. And so some folks are pushing something more like wayfaring signs that might be a little more cost effective. They previewed a new web concept. So, you know, I mentioned a couple months ago that they've got a new logo. They also are working on a new website. And one thing that the designer does for free is translates it into all the kinds of languages. The board is, the committee, not the board, the committee didn't think that that was necessary and didn't really want that. But it sounds like they're going to go ahead with it because it's included in the cost. It's free. So they're going to do it and kind of put it on the shelf in case they need it later. Yeah, they had a DTE audit. The PAR plan is coming out to do a risk assessment. They adopted basically a code of conduct from the MTA, the Principles of Government. I thought that was really good too. Not a lot to report there, but
Anything else, Christie?
no. Any questions?
Any questions? Gary?
Oh, all right. Health Department meeting, let Len handle that one. The only thing I really thought was interesting was Joyfield Township agreed to do their early voting in Benzonia. Gilmore was another township that they're talking to, and Gilmore's is tonight, so I'm sure they'll vote. The early voting thing could possibly save them some money. The three of them are trying to get together. We'll see how it works. It's always interesting. Blaine Township, we talked about, the Planning Commission decided to ask the DTE resolution be approved by the board. And the board wants to send it on to the attorney, so we'll go from there. We'll see.
What is the DTE proposal?
They're gonna bring the gas line from Alberta out to basically the two lakes, Upper and Lower Herring. At no cost to the township. All they need is the right of way access. To me, it's a no-brainer. But I don't know, there was a time limit in there that bothered the supervisor, and I'm not sure what that was. Village of Alberta, or Village of Thompsonville, last night. They discussed the growth of the fire and ambulance. They were wanting to remodel the community center and move the offices out. They're having a conflict because they have a couple of the EMS people, I guess, from Thompsonville that stay there at 70-hour increments, and really the facilities, there's one kitchen that when they rent the hall out, you know what happens. It doesn't get cleaned up and there's some issues, and they're talking, well, we might want to add a bay later on. Don't know where the funding's coming from, but right now they just want to do some remodeling, and I think they have a couple other issues they better watch. And one of them is there's a couple of ceiling tiles that look like we've got some leaks coming in this winter, which is quite possible. So maybe they ought to consider that. They also discussed, well, I guess this was Chuck Kraus. They're going to honor the nonprofit, whatever you call it, Thompsonville Revitalization Group or whatever it is in that CARP. Excuse me. And they're gonna have a ceremony at the Iron Fish. I do not seem like the cost is pretty good. They call it the Kentucky Derby event. And they race a couple of horses on a dirt road. You ought to get in that.
It's really cool.
So anyway, they're gonna honor that group and do a kind of a fundraiser for them and stuff. So it was interesting. I think it's on May 2nd from 3 to 8. Sure, I'll hear more about it in the future. And they're coming along on their building. They've got the blocks up. They poured the cement for the railroad station or railroad thing. So that's coming along good. That's all I got. Questions for Gary or comments? Lynn?
Okay, the health department meeting, that was very, very interesting. There was some discussion on vaccines policy, a lot of discussion about when vaccines should begin with babies all the way through adult. Emphasis on the flu shot for adults, for example, as well. Then they got into things like radon testing, water testing. Radon seems to be a big deal, and that they have kits there available if anybody wants one. They passed out a couple of them to the board as well. Health officer, we did we spent a significant amount of time doing his evaluation, using his self-evaluation form as I guess a baseline to decide, if the numbers should be higher or lower based on his performance. And there's a lot of discussion, drilled down to individual actions that he took throughout the year and back and forth, a lot of questions on that. And then the chair would help us work the numbers at the end. So, I think the guy's doing a great job. But I've only known him for a little while, and if what he said was accurate, then yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. And the rest of the board seemed to agree with that assessment. So I went along with that. Also, we mentioned earlier with the EDC, we did the interview with Paul Daines, and that was relatively enlightening on that. Glad that we were able to move that along today. Following that, the personnel committee did some RFPs out there. We narrowed it down to 4 vendors, which are, we're going to do interview on the 19th, I believe. Then we'll get back to you on how that worked out. And that is really all I have. Questions?
I'm sorry, I missed, what committee was this one about the RFPs?
Personnel?
Personnel, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else for Lynn? Tim?
The MAC Judiciary and Public Safety Committee, we did not have quorum, but we actually still had the presentation from the Michigan Sheriff's Association. And then where they talked about their legislative priorities. One is workforce flexibility, being able to rehire retirees. Has to do with their ability for their retirement programs. Also the underfunded or unfunded inmates that were on Medicaid come off immediately upon being booked into jail. They're working on making it so that there is some funding for through Medicaid. I mean, we've talked about this before, I believe. Not a surprise. And then we had a legislative update. Just briefly, talked about the marijuana wholesale tax for the road funding, the general fund. Yeah, nothing too exciting. Everything I think you guys are already well aware of. Attended the Central Wellness Network's Community Services and Relations Subcommittee. Reviewed the service utilization trends and volume overview for adult services. One thing that was pointed out in that presentation is that post-COVID numbers caused a lot of things to shoot up because people were finally coming out of COVID and doing stuff. Now they're finding that the trend is settling back down to where it was pre-COVID. So kind of like normalizing. And we were informed that the Central Wellness Network's BHH, which is a behavioral health home, they're looking to rename that to become, to remove the word behavioral, the stigma, behavioral, to Be Healthy Here. You hear about this yet?
Healthy hero?
Here.
Be healthy here.
Here. Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're trying to get rid of the word behavioral because that's like, oh, you have a behavioral problem.
Okay.
Personnel committee, and last night, the Village of Honor, they had a zone, were looking for a new zoning administrator and they got 6 applicants. They were actually pretty happy to get 6 applicants. Their hiring committee interviewed them and then they came back with a recommendation to hire a Sam Poulos out of Muskegon area. I guess she is, works for the city of Muskegon. And they're going to be offering the position to her. Look out.
Buys a house.
Questions or comments for Tim? She's just gonna drive up here all the time.
Well, that's.
So that was a big discussion on, compensating her drive time and stuff, they don't want to compensate her for 4 hours of drive time each time she comes up because she took the job knowing that she was gonna
There's
have.
the drive.
That would be a problem. Tim, the only thing I might add to your comment regarding the marijuana tax, is I did learn through my committee at MAC, which is the legislative and general governance, that even if they said, the courts say that, yes, they could continue to collect that tax, they will not disperse to the road commissions until the earliest would be December. So I'm hopeful that the road commission knows that already. Bob?
Just a couple meetings, Agency on Aging last week. Actually, it was a pretty good group. I was kind of surprised because the roads were pretty slippery. The chair wasn't able to be there, but Candy Landon does a very good job filling in as the director and not a whole lot to report. Yesterday was Veterans Affairs. I commented about that a little bit. Got a couple things coming up this spring. Of course, always Memorial Day, but we're gonna do a drum tribute. The sacred drum is very sacred to the Native American Indians, and they literally circle around it. So I've talked to a couple of gals from the tribe. Actually, the gals that were here on behalf of the tribe. And she said they'd love to come out and do something. So it'll be at the Veterans Memorial. And the highlight will be the drum. So it's very inspirational. Their lives evolve around the drum, and I think it'll be neat. I think some people in the community are going to be pretty special. There, as you all know, there's a quite large Indian culture in Benzie County. So fortunately, we have one of those guys on our Veterans Committee, and he's a big part of this. So looking forward to it. I will give you further notice when that comes up. Thank you.
Questions or comments for Bob?
Just now that he brought it up, I forgot that I went with Rebecca to the ceremony. Really nice.
Was there other commissioners there besides you?
From our Leelanau County. Grand Traverse, have anybody there?
No, but from Benzie County, it was
Just me.
Brenda?
Sure. I attended agenda review. And I also attended the Village of Benzonia. They are accepting applications for a new clerk. This is about a 10 to 20 hour a week commitment. This is an appointed position, so an applicant does not need to be a resident of the Village of Benzonia. And the current clerk is willing to train, of course, before she leaves, make sure the new person is up to speed and knows how things run. So if anybody's interested in that. They updated several policies. They also had a trustee seat open because the trustees are required to be residents of the Village of Benzonia, and one moved out of the area and they selected a replacement at that meeting and approved that. They approved their fee schedule for the village without increases. And they wanted, Sarah Kirk, who is their planning commission person and zoning administrator, wanted me to share that the Michigan Municipal League has a village law handbook that was updated. It's been updated in 2024. And she thought that would be good information for other villages in case they weren't aware that update was made. I attended a special meeting for the Village of Benzonia. They approved 2.8% raises. They discussed offers on the old township building. They discussed the RFP for their legal services. They're going to have a special meeting for interviews and make a decision in March on their legal representation. And they are moving forward with a conversation for a shredding day for township residents in the near future, and maybe a fee to folks outside the township if they want to use that service. I attended a land bank special meeting. They used this session to work on a letter to the townships and villages. They reviewed it, edited it to just share with the smaller municipalities the services and tools the land banks can use, that they're available to work with the community and get the word out there and ready for projects should the townships or villages want help. I attended the EDC interview, which has been discussed. Paul Dance was appointed, great appointment there. Commissioner Matthew talked about the personnel committee. We had 9 employee benefit health management companies apply to the RFP. We selected 4 for interviews. Those are Gallagher, Hub International, Travers Benefit Group, and Kapnick. And one of the key things there was the ones that used our employee navigator system. That's a plus, we decided. And then my final meeting was the Water Smart Land Use. I have permission to share that they are over the moon excited to announce that they have been the awardee of a grant for over $300,000, 2 years. The grant was called Agreements for Good, and the conservation districts aligned with their watershed efforts. They wanted to know, how are you going to change the world? And they won that award. So they'll be talking about that more in the future. And then, of course, we focused on the Benzie Zone tool, which is being worked on. One thing I noted in my notes was Gary from Caligo made the comment that nobody else is doing this, as he's developing and ordinances are being added in, and it's really being geared towards, folks being able to click on a parcel and have really important information come up. So the first launch, soft launch of this is going to be geared towards zoning administrators, equalization, the health department, our building department, soil and erosion. They're hoping to possibly have that at the government building here. And that will precede many other information sessions and of course, a presentation to the Board of Commissioners as well about how that tool works and how it's developing. And looks like it's going to be pretty cool. So that's all I have.
Questions or comments?
Just one, you mentioned that village handbook.
Yeah.
Who do they get it through?
MML,
MML?
Michigan
Thank you.
Municipal League. Yeah.
I have a burning day at my house. Burning day.
Other questions or comments? Rhonda, you said that, was it the village or the township looking for a clerk?
The Village of Benzonia. And that's been advertised. I saw the advertisement in the paper. So anybody interested should respond to the village website.
And the water group, what's that referred to?
Water Smart Land Use. That's the subcommittee we created at the Conservation District.
What would they be using that 300K for?
They haven't made that decision, and it sounds like the parameters are pretty wide. It's not project specific. So they were over the moon excited that they were gonna get it and hadn't talked about that yet, but
So not a lot of restrictions on it.
not
apparently.
a lot of restrictions on it, no.
Okay, good. Anything else? I gave you my report in advance, a couple of things that I'll touch on. About agenda review, Rhonda and I and Kelly sometimes and Tammy almost always, and what's your name again? Katie. Katie joins us.
Her name,
And
this is Zeitz.
To you.
For me, that's so much more than just setting the agenda. We get an opportunity to talk through a lot of things, find out what's happening in administration. I appreciate that opportunity to do that. That typically will run about an hour and a half on that, and I think the time's used productively. I would comment that with the EDC, with the appointment today, that's the first time, and oh my gosh, it's got to be at least 5 years that the committee's been fully staffed or is full now. So even though their role has changed, it's good to see that. I'll put this out to the group. I kind of made a unilateral decision on this, but if you want to admonish me for it, feel free. I got a contact from a citizen in the last couple of weeks, and they wanted me to entertain a resolution against ICE. Such things as no mask and cameras. Quite frankly, I don't see that as our role. And I chose not to respond. If anybody feels uncomfortable with that, I'd invite you to talk to me after the meeting and we can talk through it. On my outside visits, I spent some time with Joanne O'Rourke and Josh Mills. Katie, we did talk about the recycling and the operating millage and the tower. The recycling, of course, they have the same concern that you have, that we're gonna have to relocate that. And they'd like to come back and have a discussion again about the location they're suggesting. My guess is you're up to date on all of this. On the tower, that was kind of enlightening to talk to them about that, and we did talk through their concerns about losing revenue, and I understand that you're up to speed with that also. And I'd asked them if they'd be willing to support us on the operating millage as we're learning more on what our needs are. And we're going to be talking about that at length this afternoon. And they didn't discourage me, so we'll continue to keep conversations open with them. And that'd be it unless there's questions. Katie?
Sure, just a few things for me. I want to remind everybody that this Friday is the Regional Materials Management Planning Committee. Christy serves on that, but if anyone would like to come, it's here in Benzie this month at 1 o'clock in this room. We also put it on Zoom, so if you'd like to watch that way. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to come for this regional meeting. I just want to let everyone know, I'm not sure if you're aware, MDOT is having a pre-construction meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. regarding the work they're doing in Interlaken. I know that we're on this side of that, but we do have a lot of folks that head to Traverse City and those sorts of things.
That's our ambulance.
It affects our ambulance, the local fire departments, and therefore So that is on the 12th at 10 a.m. I do have the digital invite to that because it's an online thing. If you'd like to also join that, please let me know and I'll forward that to you. But that is on the 12th at 10 and that's a MDOT pre-construction meeting. This is the roundabout and all the things. I know there's a lot of moving of underground utilities happening in addition to the road work and stuff. And so it's going to be a pretty big thing happening.
Can you forward that to me?
I
I
can.
can't attend, but I think my assistant chief will want to do that.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you, Tim. I also tomorrow at noon have a construction kickoff meeting for Point Betsy. So things are moving forward on that. It's very exciting. That's also via Teams. If anyone would like to join me, I can happily send you that invite as well. That's up to you. And then
Before you leave that, I did get a contact from Dick Taylor yesterday.
Yeah.
He was asking if I'd participate.
Okay,
Quite frankly, I think that your participation
is
is
enough.
enough.
Okay.
So I just wanted you to know that he did contact me.
Okay, great. And then I just want to remind everybody that MAC is having their legislative conference April 27th through the 29th. If you could please let me know if you'd like to attend. The rooms at the DoubleTree go quickly. And so I want to make sure that everyone is going to be able to stay in the hotel where the conference is at. If you want to go, you just don't get the same impact if you're not in the hotel where the conference is. So if you could let me know sooner or later that you'd like to attend that conference, and then we'll get those rooms booked for you.
Do you have any commissioners going so far?
Most likely,
I've-
usually you.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Then Leslie and I.
Let's just go around the table. Lynn, are you wanting to go?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Tim,
I cannot.
Bob,
I'm not available.
Rhonda?
I would like to go, but if we have enough, I mean, I've gone to several
Mhm.
recently, so if we have too many commissioners going, I'm willing to yield.
We could have every commissioner.
It's April 27th, 28th, and 29th. Usually on that last day, they button up about noon. So you'd be back in town before dinner on Wednesday.
I think that'd be a good network for you.
And technically you could go down Monday morning because check-in isn't until 11:30 on Monday. And so you could go down Monday morning and you'd be back Wednesday by dinner. So Len is a yes. Tim is a no.
We
Bob a
waiting
no.
for you.
Oh, yes, as long as we
Okay.
don't have too many commissioners
Okay.
going. I would yield.
Christie,
I really want to.
but it's a time commitment, right?
It is a time commitment, so, yes, I meant to talk it over with my husband and I haven't, so I need to do that.
All right, just let me know soon. I just want to make sure you're all able to stay in the same hotel.
Keep in mind, you can book a hotel room and cancel that.
We can.
Okay,
All right.
then let's do that.
Well, you're covered.
What you can't do is get a reimbursement on the,
On the conference registration. So we'll get your room and then we'll hold off for a few more weeks on your conference registration. That price doesn't go up for a little time. It's the hotel I'm worried about because that
Okay.
books up quickly. So Art, are you? Okay. And
Book a bunch of motel rooms.
yeah. And then just to be clear too, we budget ample funds for you all to be able to attend these things because I believe it is very, very important from an educational standpoint, from a networking standpoint, for you to have those connections across Michigan. So don't feel that, just you're welcome to come. The other reminder too is again this year the fall conference is in Traverse City again, and so this is the year to go to some of these extra things because we're saving dollars because it's right in Traverse City in the fall.
so that should take care of you on that subject, right?
Yes. And then the last thing is I just want to give everyone a heads up. I don't have a lot of details to give publicly just yet, but the Benzonia recycling at Save-A-Lot will be moving in the spring. We have been requested to vacate that location, so it will be moving. Dave is working on alternative locations that are near that location. So there's not a huge upset in the change in the community. But just so you're aware, in the springtime, that Save-A-Lot recycling location will be moving to a different location in Benzonia. So more to come on that.
Is that on Save-A-Lot's property or is that on privately owned property?
It's real muddy for me. Yeah. There's some change in ownership and other things that have happened and they want us gone. Mhm.
So the new owners have requested we leave.
That's my understanding.
Okay. And to your point, that was gray, whether that was Al Brown's property
Right.
or now his estates,
Right.
not.
Yeah, it's So Dave's working through that on identifying other locations to move to. The issue that we have is when a new location is found, we most likely have to prepare the land for the weight of the truck and the bins. And so we're trying to find a location that's not just, a 12-month location, because to prepare the ground is $6,000 to $10,000. And so we hate to sink in a ton of money if we're just gonna have to move it again in 12 months. And so having those conversations with other business owners and property owners to try to find a location that at least we can be in for a few years. So when we make that investment to prepare the ground, it's not for such a short time.
Can I ask, does the county pay a fee for any of our sites that we are on?
No. We just take care of it. That's kind of like our fee to maintain it.
I would want talk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there's lots of conversations long-term about this and opportunities of partnering with the road commission for more permanent facilities and so forth. Yes,
Quite frankly, I think we've been lucky up till now.
we have.
Haven't had to pay for it.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, a lot of what I worked on, we covered at the meeting today. So there's not too much more to add.
Any other questions?
I would wonder if you wanted to address the meeting Wednesday night?
Glad you brought that up. Why don't you go ahead and mention that?
Just Wednesday night, the Housing Trust of Benzie is an event being sponsored by several entities. It sounds like it's going to be a very broad conversation about needs and housing forward motion that's being made in our community. It's at the Mills Community House on the 11th from 5:30 to 7:30. And I believe the chair has decided that this will be a compensable event if anybody wants to attend.
You don't need to make reservations. You can decide at the end, but I know that they would like to have a broad attendance. Last one I was at, which I think is the last one they had, was at the Frankfurt Elementary School. And it was well attended. A lot to be learned about housing in Benzie County. And that is one of our higher priorities. Thank you. Glad you brought that up. You're reading my mind. Anything else for the group? You have the correspondence in the packet. Our last public comment.
My name is Annie Browning and I live in 30 Grove Place in Frankfurt. And I wasn't gonna say anything until you said about ICE. And I'm just gonna share my perspective on it. And if ICE came into this community, I would be fearful. Honestly, I would be terrified. I mean, and it would probably trigger some, PTSD because you kind of know my history. And so I understand what you're saying about it not really being your role, but to the extent that your role is to protect the citizens of this community, county, then I think it would be helpful for us not to invite them. I would be terrified if I saw them here. I'd be like, anyway, so thank you.
Anybody else? We'll close public comment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support?
I'll support.
Anybody opposed? All right, we will.